Have you ever looked at something, completely ordinary, maybe something you wear every day, and just wondered about the hidden stories it holds? Sometimes the biggest tales are right there in the details. Today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that kind of object, the BENRUS DTU-2AP Field Watch. We're going to explore its really remarkable lineage, its history, and its kind of fascinating modern comeback using the great source material you sent over.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really is more than just a watch. It's such a perfect example of how a small thing, something purely functional, can capture military history, design changes, a whole brand story, really. What's compelling, I think, is how this one piece tells such a big story about its time, its original job, and we'll get into how faithful this new version is, but also where they made some necessary modern tweaks.
Okay, so it's born from a specific moment, but before we dive into the DTU-2AP itself, where did BENRUS even come from? Were they always a big deal?
That's a great place to start,
Yeah.
actually, because their origins, they really set the scene. BENRUS kicked off in New York City way back in 1921. But what's kind of amazing, especially thinking about where they ended up later, is how big they got. By the 1950s, this wasn't some small outfit. They were making over 1 million watches a year.
1 million? Wow.
Yeah, that puts them right up there with names you probably know, like Hamilton and Elgin. They were a major American brand.
Over 1 million watches.
Yeah.
Okay, that is serious scale. So what happened? How does a brand that huge sort of vanish for a while?
It's almost like the classic story for watchmakers from that era. Despite being so big, BENRUS, like a lot of others, got caught in the quartz crisis in the late 70s. Yeah, when those cheaper, super accurate quartz watches from Asia just flooded everything, it nearly killed traditional watchmaking. But, and this is the impressive bit, BENRUS made a real comeback starting in 2017. A private investment group with some serious industry veterans involved, they bought the brand. And now, their focus is squarely on bringing back those heritage pieces, especially the military watches, from their archives.
And it wasn't just quantity, right? They had some serious street cred back in the day. I saw names like JFK, Babe Ruth, even Charles Lindbergh were clients. That's quite a list. Plus, the pop culture thing, Steve McQueen wearing one a bullet, iconic.
Exactly. Huge names.
But is that connection to, serious users still there today? Or is it mostly looking back?
That's a fair question. And no, it's not just nostalgia. BENRUS is still working with demanding users. They have this Project Type 3X going on, and they're developing that directly with veterans from the Navy SEALs, Rangers, Marines.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it shows they're not just reissuing old designs. They're still focused on performance for people who really need it. It kind of links their past reputation with what they're doing now.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
From historical contracts to modern special forces. So let's pivot to the star here.
Yeah.
The DTU-2AP. This is where it gets really interesting, like you said, Vietnam War origins. It actually got the contract after following these upgraded MLW 3818B specs from the Defense Department in '62.
Right, the military watch specifications.
Exactly. And that made this BENRUS the first new field watch issued to soldiers in Vietnam. So it's not just metal and gears, it's like a tangible piece of that history.
Absolutely, a direct link.
So given that incredible history, the big question for watch fans has to be, how true is this 2025 reissue to that original? Did they nail the look and feel?
They really did. I mean, visually, it's incredibly faithful. It recreates that classic 4mm diameter case. It's 10.9mm thumidity, 40.2mm lug to lug. Now, yeah, 34mm sounds small today with all the huge watches out there.
Right, definitely small by modern standards.
Right. But that was completely normal, even standard, back in the mid-20th century. And the case itself, sandblasted stainless steel. Solid steel back. And importantly, it's got that MLW 3818 engraving, just like the original spec.
Okay, sticking close to the original dimensions is key for authenticity. But you mentioned modern upgrades. What did they change?
Right, and this is where it gets fascinating, the balance they struck. While it looks incredibly faithful, there are some inevitable and, frankly, important modern upgrades.
Like what?
Well, take the crystal. The original wartime watch would have had acrylic, scratches easily. This new one, it has a double-domed sapphire crystal. Much tougher. Plus, it has 2 anti-reflective coatings, so it's super clear to read.
Sapphire is definitely more practical. Less authentic, maybe for some purists, but way more durable.
Exactly. It's a trade-off, but arguably a good one for daily wear. Another big upgrade is the crown. It's now an oversized screw-down crown, and that helps give it 100 meters of water resistance.
Oh, wow, 100 meters. That's way more than the original would have had, right?
Oh, absolutely. Much higher. Makes it far more versatile today without, changing that core utilitarian look.
Okay, so the case is faithful but improved. What about the dial? That's really the face of a military watch.
The dial is spot on, really captures that purpose-built feel. It keeps that sterile, matte black look. No branding, no extra text, just like the originals.
You function.
Pure function, you've got the classic military layout, big Arabic numerals, 1 through 12, and then the smaller 24-hour scale inside. It's an aesthetic you see on other famous field watches, like the Hamilton Khaki Field or the Bulova Hack Watch.
Because it's a standard design.
Precisely. It was the standard, highly legible design required back then. You also get a really detailed minute and seconds tracker on the edge with little triangular markers, and they've added a touch of faux patina, that slightly aged look to the lume, giving it a nice vintage touch.
Ah, the faux patina. Always a bit controversial, but can look good. And lume is important.
Yes, and they use superluminova on the dial markers and the hands, so it's very readable in the dark. It just has that perfect no-nonsense vibe, super legible, compact, ideal tool watch feel.
So it sounds like it looks the part. How does it actually wear? That 18mm lug width seems quite narrow.
It does sound narrow, yeah. The 18mm width can be a bit deceptive on its own, but if you get it on the optional brown leather bun strap, you know, the one with the extra pad underneath.
What the kind pilots used to wear.
Exactly. That bun strap actually makes the whole thing look wider on the wrist. It gives it much more presence. It's a very cool vintage look. But if you want something simpler, cleaner, more classic military, it also comes on a standard green NATO strap with a simple steel buckle. Very straightforward.
Okay, options for different looks. So we've covered the outside. What's ticking away inside this thing?
Yeah.
What movement did BENRUS go with, especially given their American roots?
Right, the engine. Inside the 2025 reissue, you'll find an ETA 2671 automatic movement. And yes, while BENRUS started in the US, this is a Swiss-made movement.
Swiss-made.
It's got 25 joules. It beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour. That's 4 hertz. Pretty smooth sweep. And it has about a 38-hour power reserve. Look, it's nothing super fancy or highly decorated, but for a field watch like this, that's kind of the point, right? Reliability, robustness.
True. Function over form.
Mm-hmm.
But the Swiss movement, how does that fit with BENRUS's history?
Ah, well, that actually connects directly to how BENRUS operated even from the beginning. From their founding, BENRUS often used and sometimes even assembled movements that came from Switzerland, specifically a Chaux de Fonds.
Oh, okay. So that Swiss connection isn't new for them.
Not at all. It's part of their DNA. And the ETA 2671 itself is interesting because it's quite a small movement, which makes it absolutely perfect for fitting into that historically accurate 34mm case. Function-wise, it gives you central hours, minutes, and hacking seconds.
Hacking seconds being key for military timing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stopping the second hand to synchronize.
Exactly. And critically, it's a true no-date movement. There's no hidden date wheel or phantom click in the ground. This matches the original military spec, which also didn't have a date. The original used an ETA 2370, which was modified specifically to add hacking. So this modern ETA 2671 is a really good fit, both historically and functionally.
Okay, bringing this all together then, what's the overall takeaway here for someone considering this watch? It really sounds like a cool, very compact field watch, definitely has that legit history and those authentic proportions.
Absolutely. That sums it up well. It is a genuine compact field watch. It's got the real lineage. The proportions are spot on historically. Now, we have to be honest, that 34mm size, it might be too small for some people today, especially if you're used to bigger watches.
Yeah, it's definitely a specific taste.
It is. But for those who really get the history, who appreciate that faithfulness to the original design, who understand the context, I think they'll be really happy with it. And when you look at the value, the price is listed at 892 Swiss francs, excluding VAT.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that stack up?
I'd say that's pretty competitive, actually, considering you're getting a solid Swiss automatic movement, that very faithful design, and like we keep saying, that undeniable legitimate history. Those authentic proportions and the story behind it, those are really the key selling points here for enthusiasts.
So what this deep dive really shows, I think, is how this BENRUS DTU-2A manages to be this fascinating mix. It's got historical accuracy, but also practical, modern updates. It feels like a real testament to how good functional design can last.
Yeah.
Right? How something built for a specific purpose can still resonate today.
It really does. And maybe that leads to a final thought for you listening out there. How does this focus we see here, this emphasis on authentic proportions, on heritage, in a modern product like a watch? How does that maybe reflect broader trends, trends in design, maybe consumer desire for history, for something tangible in our increasingly digital world?
That's a good question.
What other things around you, everyday objects, might hold similar hidden stories, similar depths of history and purpose? Maybe they're just waiting for their own deep dive. Perhaps it encourages you to just look at the stuff around you with a little bit more curiosity and wonder about the stories they might tell.